Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today we're discussing the top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC. First of all, there was a lot of pretty good candidates for this list, but last year there was a clear top 3, in my opinion, for quarterbacks in the SEC, which was Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, and Stetson Bennett. Since those 3 guys are gone, it's going to be tough to figure out who is the best quarterbacks, top 5 list. It was tough to make, and also without Will Levis. Someone that could have filled in the spot in the top 5, but he got drafted too. But he wasn't great in college. He was mainly just good potential. I'd say good pro prospect, but not really great college player. So let's discuss the top 5 quarterbacks into this. And if you don't like this list, that's fine. Put on the comments what you want. But I'm going to go in order. Starting at number 5, I got Devin Leary at number 5. You talked me that in Clemson in the Kentucky video. I did give some praise to Devin Leary. I said the transition from NC State to Kentucky will be a problem, but just as a quarterback, he's definitely top 5. I mean, last year, let me get this right. He had, in his full year of playing, not last year, the year before, in 2021, he had 3,433 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, upsetting Clemson at home. So he had actually a big win, and he also played extraordinarily good. A great passer rating, I'm pretty sure it was around 150, something like that, which is very good. Last year, he got injured with a broken fibula, but he still finished the year with 11 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, so that's very good for some. He's on pace to have a pretty good year. Then he got hurt. So, yeah, I think he's able to not fully replicate that at Kentucky, but he's not much of a runner. He's not that much of a runner. He can run, but he's not that much of a running quarterback, but his throwing ability is questioned by none. He can throw the ball very well. It's going to be different to see how he translates to this defenses that the SEC has to face, but he's lucky because Kentucky has a top 5 defense in the SEC, so he's lucky he doesn't have to play them. And number 4, I have Joe Milton. Joe Milton is the only guy on this list who has really not fully played a season in college football. He's been on a team for a season. He started the season. He's ended the season before, but he's never actually played the full season. First year of Tennessee, he got hurt. Second year, he only played pretty much against Vanderbilt and Clemson. He did okay against Vanderbilt, but he definitely had a very much of a good game against Clemson, having a 19 for 28 game, 19 completions out of 28 attempts, 251 yards, and 3 touchdowns versus Clemson in the bowl game. He showed to be pretty accurate. He has to have some better pocket awareness at some times, but I think that'll just come out just being more familiar with the team, and just throwing yourself against Clemson is not the most comfortable way to start off your run when it comes to pocket awareness, because Dabo Swinney is very smart. He knows how to use their defense to perfection, and they're able to use it a bit and to mess them up a bit, and even then they scored 31 points. So Joe Milton there's no questioning his arm talent. His arm talent, he can throw it 90 yards, that's everyone's saying, but everyone talks about like, oh, his accuracy good. I think that bowl game against Clemson really cleared up a lot of that problem, because he might look okay at a bad game against Vanderbilt, or like accuracy-wise, he missed some guys. Well, first of all, it was a rain game. Second of all, their primary use was the run game. So they're running ball a lot more because Vanderbilt couldn't stop it. Third of all, it was also his first start in, I think, a year and a half. So he was still a bit rusty for that. So, and also he threw like a 60-yard pass to Jalen Hyatt before. So it's not like he was just bad all game. No, he threw very good moments. But Clemson had a very good game. I think that can continue. His accuracy showed up very well against Clemson. Just more familiarity he gives with his offense and just in game. He will show why he's a better quarterback and one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. He has the best potential of anyone in the SEC. That's without a doubt in my mind. Then you got the man from Mississippi State, Will Rogers. Will Rogers is definitely one of those guys who's just great. He's been a starting quarterback for 2 years. Now it's going to be his 3rd year at Mississippi State. I'm pretty sure he's been a starter for 2 years before then. But he's part of an air raid offense with Mike Leach there. But now we have to get a new coach. It's going to change up a bit, but the stats just cannot be denied. In 2022, he had 3,974 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Very similar stats to Devin Leary. But the difference is that the year before, he had, in 2021, 4,739 yards, 36 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. His yards were way more than the year afterwards. Touchdowns a little bit more, one more interception. So he just got more everything. Two of those are good things, one of them is a bad thing. But it's not like a big difference between interceptions and touchdown ratio. So he's very much consistent with that. His yards can vary. But with this offense, he's going to be, I think they're going to be able to excel because they're actually going to run the ball for once, which is a problem that Mississippi State fans had a problem with, had showed a lot last year, is that they just didn't run the ball. But now with this team, I think with this offense, they'll run the ball a lot more, get Will Rogers more open guys, and they have some good players. There's no question about that. But we're not talking about the guys that you have on your team. We're talking about the talent and the ability of your quarterback, and Will Rogers has shown year after year that he can make any throw at any time, at any point in the game. Only problem with him, he doesn't have like a big win on his resume. For some of it's not his fault, some of it is. It's just like, well, okay, can you beat a big team? Can you beat the Alabamas? Can you beat the Georgias? Can you beat those? I don't really see him do that yet. So if he does that this year, then he'll arguably be the best quarterback in the SEC. Because his arm talent is undeniable. Number 2, I think this is a fair spot for Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels is number 2 quarterback in the SEC. And there's 2 main reasons for that. His stats from last year don't just pop off the charts. Like, that is phenomenal. Outside of his rushing yards, which he had 885 of those with 11 touchdowns. That's like, wow, that's really good. But there's no passing stat that's like, okay, that's just absolutely phenomenal. Like, that is incredible. But his big game ability is the difference. And I'm going to take away 2 games. I'm going to be looking at this as big games. Then when the offense got familiar, he just played phenomenal in. First one is the game against Ole Miss. It was 21 for 28, 249 yards with 2 touchdowns, then 23 carries for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns, all in the same game, which is absurd. Then you were at home versus Alabama, and that's your biggest game of the regular season. It's always against Bama. It's one of your biggest rivals, arguably your biggest rival. And in that game at home, put up 22 for 32 passing, 182 yards for 2 touchdowns, and then 18 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. And he made a big run in overtime. 2 big throws, both to Mason Taylor, one in regulation and the one closer to the end of the regulation, the one to win the game. There's 2 main things about this one. They won. That's the big things. They won. He can win in big games. He can perform well in big games. He's been in LSU for a while. I think he'll show out this year. But his stats last year, again, don't pop off the charts. But he had 2,913 yards passing, 17 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That is very good. Efficient. Just nothing that pops off the charts. And again, I just want him I think his offense can be very good with him. He's a very good quarterback. He's just not number 1 in the SEC at the moment. And I'll say why. At number 1, I have KJ Jefferson. You might wonder why KJ Jefferson is number 1. Again, there's 2 big things I have with this. If you can run and you can throw. KJ Jefferson does that at a high level. And even when he was out for, I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 games for Arkansas, it might have been more, he still had 640 rushing yards for 9 touchdowns. He's built like Cam Newton. He doesn't play fully like Cam Newton, like his abilities. He's not as good as Cam Newton was, but he does play like him. And at Arkansas, I don't think any other quarterback would play as well as he would there at Arkansas, would fit the scheme as well as he does at Arkansas. And also, he is a 3-year starter. You don't just become a 3-year starter over nothing. He has been very good on highly ranked teams at Arkansas. He has helped change the program with Sam Pittman. I think this guy is very good. He's also very efficient. Like last year, he put up 2,648 yards for 24 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Great job. If you want even more proof, the year before in 2021, he had 2,676 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions with a big win over Texas A&M. And they competed very well against Alabama that year. And they were ranked in the top 10 at one point. So he can win games for Arkansas. He can put in their team in position to win in shootouts. And he's a great runner. He's very physical. And that's why I have him at number 1. Because a guy who's that big and physical, who can run the ball like that, and can throw efficiently is not easy to find. Hopefully Arkansas uses him well this year. This is his last year in college. This is a lot of these guys' last years in college. These are all of them. This is their last year. So hopefully they all play ball out really well and all lead their teams to success, because when the SEC is good, when the SEC teams are better, like Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Tennessee, LSU, like all those 5 teams I mentioned, when those teams are good, all of them are better. And by the way, there were 2 guys on this list, not on this list I was considering, which was Spencer Rattler and Spencer Sanders. My problem with Spencer Sanders was that he had a lot of interceptions compared to his touchdowns. He had 2 years of double-digit interceptions. That was a problem for me. Even though he would win, he had the interception problem, which is not a good thing to see. But he was a 4-year starter. That's why I was questioning that. And then Spencer Rattler, I don't think he's that consistent. I need to see more consistency for Spencer Rattler. And if he does that, then he can make the top 5. But for the moment, these are the guys who have, 4 of these guys have proven year after year why they're here. And one of them has the highest potential out of any quarterback in the country. And he's proven a bit on what the potential could end up being. So, yeah. Also, Josh Heupel is Joe Milton's coach. So, Josh Heupel is going to make him even better. Like he did with Hendon Hooker, he's going to do the same thing with Joe Milton. So, yeah. Hope you all have a great day. Stay safe. Weather is again coming through the south. But, yeah. Hope you all stay safe with that. Hit the like button if you like the video. Comment whatever you want. Give your own top 5 list. And tell me why you disagree or agree with my list. And hit the subscribe button, because we talk about football a lot. And yeah, Hall of Fame games tonight. So yeah, hopefully watch it. I'll be watching that game. Probably give it a little analysis about it tomorrow. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. Stay safe, y'all. And God bless y'all.